Hi guys, welcome back to another video with Pratham Test Prep. This is your host Sanjeev Bhatia again, and we are back with a new video on your legal Darpan, that is a peek into your weekly legal affairs. Now, as you know that this is the episode 17, so if you are new to the channel, please do make sure that you're hitting on the like, share and subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit on the bell icon for these regular updates. Now, coming to the first part of this session today is that if you are not a part of our Telegram channel, do make sure that you are subscribing to our Telegram channel, and also do make sure that you are looking for our tips and tricks and any other updates that are coming on this channel for your exams which are related to law. So the first news for the day that is coming in is that India has recently celebrated the Republic Day in 2023 on 26th of January, right? So there are some few interesting facts that you need to know. So the Constitution of India came into effect on January 26th of 1950. Republic Day has been observed since that day. On November 26, 1949, the Constituent Assembly did, however, adopt the constitution, but you know that it came into effect on 26th of January. The constitution was created in 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. Now, the Indian constitution became effective on 26th January. That's why it's called the Republic Day of the country. Now, what is the constitution consisting of? So, it is consisting of 444 articles that are divided into 22 parts, and also 12 schedules and 118 amendments to the date, right? So the constitution of India is amongst the longest constitutions in the world. So I hope you know that fact. If you don't, now you know it. So coming to the next part is that the first Republic Day was celebrated, parade was done in 1950 at the Major Dhyan Chand Stadium. Now it is known as that, where over 100 aircrafts and 3,000 members of the Indian military participated. Now on the date, one of the only two times a Pakistani governor was granted a privilege. The inaugural parade of Rajpath was held in 1955 with the Governor General Malik Ghulam Muhammad of Pakistan as the chief guest. So this was the only two times that has happened. The date of 26 January was chosen since it was the day on 1930 that the Indian National Congress unveiled Purna Swaraj, which rejected the British regime also. Now, the principal guest for Republic Day is often selected as a head of a state. So, if you know that in 1950, the first person who visited India as a special guest was Indonesian President Sukarno in 1950. So, that is a very, very important news that you need to know, that who was the first head of the state. So, he was an Indonesian who has visited this particular parade. Now, coming to the next part is that Jharkhand domicile bill. There was a bill that was passed amongst the Jharkhand government. Now, this bill was passed for domicile, and this is being sent to the governor for his assent. That means he is going to sign. Then only it was going to become a law. Now, the governor has refused to sign the bill. Now, according to the governor, the bill fails to provide an equal employment opportunities to all people in the state of Jharkhand, right? So it is taking away that particular right away from all the people that the constitution has guaranteed them for. Now also the bill says that only local persons can be appointed in class 3 and class 4 state government positions, which is obviously something that you can consider as ultra virus of the powers of the government that they have used on making such laws also. Now coming to the next part, that e-waste management has also amended some of the rules in 2023. So what are these few rules that have been changed in the e-waste management? So producers should provide information on equipment constituents of the waste discarded, right? What were the what were the waste that were being thrown off? They need to make a list. Now also the producer should provide a declaration of reductions made on hazardous substances, that how much of the usage of hazardous substances have been reduced while they are producing their goods. Now coming to the next part, the equipment constituent details and the declaration should be in sync with the CPCB rules and regulations updated now and then, right? So that's what the amended rules are particularly saying. Now, High Court has taken, Madras High Court, this is not just any High Court, this is Madras High Court, basically said that foreigners can also invoke Domestic Violence Act before Indian courts, right? So if anybody who's been married in an Indian society, any person who's coming from abroad or a foreigner is married in the Indian society, they can also go and act against the domestic violence. Now, an estranged wife, a US citizen, filed a domestic violence case in the Madras High Court. She filed a complaint to Mahila Court under the Domestic Violence Act of 2005. To counter her case, the husband filed a petition to dismiss her case. To this, the Madras High Court pronounced that the foreigners can invoke the Domestic Violence Act before the Indian courts and refused to strike down the wife's case because the opposition party that was representing the husband would have said that as she is a foreigner, she cannot invoke the Domestic Violence Act, but the follow and the rules that are being made in the country will be applied by the courts. So the courts will decide that will it be invoked or not in a case of foreigner, and the court said yes, it can be invoked by a foreigner. A foreigner can go on and invoke the Domestic Violence Act before the Indian courts and refuse to strike down the wife's case. Now, coming to the next part is that there is an annual death penalty report that has been taken out in 2022. So, the National Law University has established under the NLUA Act of 2007 the project 39A is a group associated with the university and has recently released a report called the Annual Death Penalty Report of 2022. So you can see the number of reports of death penalty prisoners in India has increased to 539 in 2022 and it was only 490 in 2021. So we can see that there is a bit increase in the crime rate of the country also. So that's why this annual death penalty report is very, very important for you to also know. Now coming to the next part for the day, that the Google policy change in line with the CCI, right? So the smartphones that comes in the country have pre-installed apps like GMAT or Google Mail or your say Google search engines, YouTube, and these are some apps which cannot be uninstalled from your phone. Apart from the Google apps, some smartphones also come with the third-party apps that are supported by Google. Now Google uses its dominance and influence in the smartphone makers to pre-install certain apps, right? They tell them that if you want an Android in your mobile phone, you need to pre-install these apps and then only send your mobile phones to these people, and they cannot be deleted also. To avoid this, the Competition Commission of India has imposed a fine of 161 million USD on Google owner Alphabet for making its dominance to exploit Indian markets, right? So Competition Commission of India is what is the full form of CCI. Now the Supreme Court recently upheld the CCI's direction, and following this the Google changed its policy, right? Now what policies were brought in, that is also something that you need to know. Users can now choose to change their default search engines on their smartphones. User choice billing is used for subscription and app purchases. The billing is to be available for all apps from February 2023. Android compatibility changes were introduced. Smartphone makers, OEM or original equipment manufacturers shall pre-install their apps at their own will. They can decide whose apps they want to put in and whose apps they don't want to. Now, the Competition Amendment Bill has been put up as promote to healthy competition, and the main intention of the act is to basically avoid monopoly in the case. Now, if you see Facebook for an instance, some economists also are of the opinion that Facebook exhibits a monopoly, meaning it wants to rule the world of digital messaging, and also to achieve this, Facebook bought almost every competitor on its way. It also acquired WhatsApp, acquired Instagram. Those were its major competitors, and now they're running it very, very successfully. Coming to the Competition Act prevents such mergers and acquisition, and also the act was legislated in 2002. Now in 2022, the government of India proposed certain changes and additions to the act. The amendment is still pending, and the government of India recently added more change along with those intended to be changing in 2022 itself. Now, coming to the last news for the day, that India stands on implementation of 13A in Sri Lanka. Now in 1987, India and Sri Lanka has signed an agreement to implement the 13th amendment of the Sri Lankan constitution. Now according to the agreement, the Sri Lankan government will provide powers to the Tamil community in the country, and also recently External Affairs Minister Mr. Jaishankar has declared that India ponders to implementation of 13A is very critical for them. Now 13A is essential for the Sri Lankan government to reconcile with the Tamil community that is there in their country. Now 13A is the amendment of the constitution, will give more power to people in the country who are Tamils. Now Tamilians are the minority in the country of Sri Lanka, and also is demanding a separate state. Now with the Indian Union government's effort, the Sri Lankan government has agreed to increase the power of the Tamilians in the country through 13A, and the 13A was not implemented however. Now that's it for today guys. Thank you for joining us for this live session. Do make sure that you are hitting on the like, share and subscribe button, and also don't forget to hit on the bell icon for these regular updates. Whenever we'll be coming and posting online, we'll be definitely able to send you a notification on your YouTube. So thank you for watching this live video, and thank you for watching our channel, and thank you for supporting us regularly. Do take care of yourself and have a nice day ahead.